So it is currently April 2024. I don't know why I just did that because this watch does not tell the date. But if you've been curious on what it really takes to run a successful Amazon FBA business, well, in this video, we're gonna go over the 5 things that I wish I knew before starting this Amazon FBA journey. And these are from my personal experience and after selling over $2 million in total sales. So I'm gonna go over everything so that way you can go along for the ride. Let's talk about what no one tells you, starting with number 1 is this right here. This mountains of return right behind me. So you have to get ready for the returns, and this is something I still struggle nowadays. It's kind of embarrassing. I mean, not all of them are returns, but there's a lot of them out here on the side. So it's something that I am working on a solution, so no worries. So it's definitely a valid question as a beginner. It's like, what do you do with these returns? So, well, it depends on the item, because some items, believe it or not, it just gets returned and still in brand new condition. So the simple solution to that is to just return it back to Amazon, right? But if you do get items that's, damaged or it's been used, it does happen, then that is just unfortunately part of the business and it is a loss. So that's why it's really important to start tracking. I did make a video about that, so check it out somewhere above here in the description. So it's definitely a challenge when I first started, as I didn't really know how to handle those returns, but the more I gained more experience in terms of Amazon, you start to know which categories gets a lot of returns, like shoes and apparel, right? That's known for its high return rate. On the other hand, you got the makeup, you got the groceries, those tend to have a little return because those items are called consumables. So a solution for this as a new seller is when you get a return, definitely tackle it. Don't procrastinate. That's something that I tend to put off once in a while here. So I will usually, spend a day or a couple days to just literally go returns, especially in the scale that I'm doing, multi-million-dollar business. And ideally, what I need to do is hire help, literally pay them. If you want to sell it half off or something, you get part of the commissions, whatever. You can do Facebook, Craigslist. There's different ways to kind of liquidate this return inventories, and specifically for like damaged items or it's like broken, anything like that. But if it's brand new, it's simply just return it to Amazon. That's the easiest way. So there are different solutions that you can be aware of. And having these items parked here is the last thing that I want, and probably what you want, because that money is stuck there. It's not moving. So ideally, you want it to move even. You might be breaking even on that item, but at least you can get that, recoup that money back. Maybe purchase a better inventory that can give you a better return. Definitely better than just sitting here, right? Second thing is going to be reinvesting everything back into the business. We're not there buying Rolexes or Lambos, not yet at least, but it's really important to learn the process of reinvesting everything so that way you can grow your pot bigger and bigger and bigger. So for me, I had a full-time job when I first started Amazon FBA. If you didn't know my story, it took me about 8 months into the business, doing it part-time, where I really felt comfortable in doing and jumping into FBA full-time. However, before doing all that and going through the process, I knew I had to save some money because there's going to be some learning curves along the way. So this is part of the preparation that I anticipated, because if I wasn't ready, I would not feel as confident to just quit my job and do Amazon FBA full-time, because I knew that I had to reinvest everything in order to grow. I didn't have the biggest capital out there. I started, with 5,000-6,000, and slowly but surely I knew if I reinvest everything, I would able to grow my capital bigger and bigger and bigger, and it kind of starts like a snowball effect, right? So that's really important. And one story that I wanted to share with you guys is like, I did not take any vacations for 2 years. I just grinded and worked on the business, and now I can travel a little bit, like, the next couple weeks I'll be in Mexico, right? But it's not like full travel. I was still gonna be, working on my laptop or other parts of the business. But again, I was able to get to do all these fun things because I didn't do anything for 2 years. All I worked was in the business. I prepped everything. Now I prep a little bit, but I have a prep center that I work with. So this is not just financial wise, but also your time and effort. You can reinvest as much as you can, and you'll be able to reap the benefit as long as you have the goal at end of mind that what you want to accomplish. So that way you will know what to do. All right, guys. So number 3 is how much tracking the business requires. And yes, tracking means organization. Organization? Something like that. Organization. Be organized. So tracking means organization, and it doesn't matter what business model you are doing on Amazon, whether that's wholesale, retail arbitrage, and especially if you're gonna do online arbitrage, you're gonna wanna track everything. And as a beginner, it's easy to get overwhelmed, especially once you start to scale. Let's use online arbitrage, for example. You start buying inventory from Walmart, Kohl's, Target, GameStop, wherever it may be. They may come in different days or different type of shipments. But then you'll slowly start to find out, as just like my experience when I first started doing this, Walmart didn't give me the exact quantity that I ordered. Target, I gotta return these items because they're damaged. GameStop canceled my order, but still charged me on my credit card, and it's been days. So there's a lot of tracking involved, and what I had to do, because I didn't want to get overwhelmed, is I had to stay organized. And you can use the same recipe as I did. Was I used Google Sheets. And by the way, if you guys want a copy of this template in Google Sheets, just comment down below with your email and be more than happy to share it with you guys, because this literally saved my life. I knew I had to stay organized. Keeping track of different things is part of the business. So yeah, having a template like this one back here, it'll make your life easier, trust me. And super easy to simply follow along. You're basically just putting all the supplier, credit card use, tracking, and all that stuff. So organization is key. Learn from my experience and my mistakes. And this is definitely a great opportunity as a business owner, that you're learning all these foundations, different skills. Yes, eventually you can outsource these things, just like how I outsource my prepping, right? Because of the scale, I'm ordering so much that I need to send to Amazon. So those are the things that we can learn eventually to scale out, but we have to learn at the same time, or else how are we gonna know if they're doing a good job or not? So yeah, those are just pretty much the front end part of the tracking aspect. But remember, those returns, those refunds that we need to track, there's a lot more stuff behind the scene. The scale I'm at right now, selling multi-million dollars in sales each year, I need some help. So I found Getita, which is the service that I use currently, been using them for 2 years. Like last week, they had found $1,500, which to me, that would have been a loss already. They had found it, reimbursed me, and they take a small percentage off what they had found. So basically, if they don't find anything, you don't pay Getita. So they're incentivized to find items for you. This is good once you start scaling up to get some help to grow your business, because you can only do so much. I can only do so much. So I actually did an interview with the Getita founder, Yoni Mazur, in my YouTube channel here. So definitely check the video out. He breaks down to the T what Getita is, what the service is. So that way, if you are interested, you can simply, it's super easy to connect. You just put your Amazon logged in there, your account, Seller Central. They are a platinum certified partner by Amazon. So they're super trusted. And again, very super easy to connect. I do have a link down below if you want to check it out. It'll save you a couple bucks. So the whole purpose of getting help like that is so that way you as a business owner can focus on the high level percentage of your business on what really matters. Buying profitable inventory is what really takes up a lot of our aspect as a business owner. The prepping, those are like very low cost activity, right? So as doing back-end stuff like getting refunds or returns, if a service exists with that, like why not let them do it, so that way you can just continue moving along. And that's what helped me a lot. So what I do to track my profits and losses, I use the software called Inventory Lab. It's been the best software I had found in terms of integrating with Amazon, because I use it as a shipment as well. So as other Amazon sellers out there. And literally, when you send a shipment out to Inventory Lab versus Amazon Seller Central, you're not gonna wanna go back. It makes it so much easier, because with Amazon Seller Central, if you do it the first time, you're gonna wanna like rip the hair out of your head. So using Inventory Lab is super useful because it tracks profit, it does a little bit of returns as well, and you can see your inventory valuation, like how much inventory you have in Amazon's warehouse. So that's really useful in that. And again, when it comes to tax season, you can use Inventory Lab as kind of like tracking your profit and loss statements. Another thing that I had to track was the credit cards I had used when I first started the business. I knew it was working. Now it was just more finding, more capital. How can I spend more inventory that I found profitable? So this is where I really started to apply different business cards, 0% especially. So I think at one point I had like 3 or 4 at the same time. So it was kind of tricky in the beginning to track, but then of course I resorted to Google Sheets trying to stay organized as much as possible, so that way I can keep track of when they're due, how much they do each month. Because with a 0% credit card, not many people know is that you don't have to pay out the whole thing each month, you just have to pay the minimum. So that is key right there when you're applying a 0% interest credit card. But at the end, whenever that special, the 0% ends, obviously you're gonna wanna pay it off, or else that's when the interest kicks in. So if you're juggling multiple credit cards when you're starting, it's definitely useful to track with those items as well. Make sure you're not paying interest for no reason because you didn't track of when the due date of the card was. So then this is gonna lead us to point number 4, which is it takes money to make money when it comes to Amazon. And the simple reason is that Amazon is an inventory-based business, meaning you have to go ahead and spend money first, get the inventory before you can make money out there after selling it. Of course, the old adage goes is like, buy it low, then sell it high, but there's more than that, right? There's cash flow. So how it works is in terms of Amazon, you remember we talked about you have to buy inventory first, right? So if you do buy inventory, it doesn't matter wholesale, you go in store, you order online, it will take a couple weeks, a minimum 2 weeks, to get your items from prepping it, stickering it, shipping it to Amazon's warehouse to get it live for someone to purchase, from Amazon.com. So 2 weeks minimum just to have your inventory tied up in transit, right? It's not even available to purchase. Then when someone purchases your inventory, Amazon keeps that money as a reserve. So in case that person returns the item, they have the reserve still. So you don't get that money back for, another cycle. It usually depends, it could be 2 weeks to a month, depending how you wanted to request your payout. But again, that's almost a month and a half to get your original money back if you sell that item the second it checks in. Now, some items you purchase is not necessarily gonna sell immediately. It might sit there for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, a couple months. So that is part of the cash flow management that is very important as an Amazon business owner, because you're gonna have to juggle not just like the cash flow, but also, hey, I need this inventory to sell so I can go buy more inventory that's profitable. And sometimes that can mean selling an item that is not profitable because there's competitions on the item, someone tanked the pricing. So there's various reasons out there. But again, it's one of those things that the more you start learning about Amazon, the more you scale, you're gonna learn the business of cash flow. So that's why it's important to kind of take your time with this. The first few months, learn the ins and outs and not get too eager to just blow all your money in the inventory when you don't even know the cash flow process and cycle, how it works. And it's a little prep. I was kind of applying this in my life initially before I started, going full-time at Amazon FBA, because each month when I was working at my full-time job and doing Amazon FBA's part-time, I was saving little each month, because for me personally, not for the business, because I knew once the business started, we talked about reinvesting your money. This is my personal money. I need to survive at the same time, whether that's 6 months to a year. So that way I can just solely focus on Amazon, because it's never a smart thing to just burn the bridge and jump on Amazon FBA when you don't have reserves, right? So that's the same thing. You don't want to over leverage in terms of your Amazon business at the same time. You want to make sure it's structured properly so you can take calculated risks. So number 5 is going to be the profits versus what you will be making in reality. For example, you're finding products out there, let's say for wholesale, right? And you had found this product after, calculating using the calculator profit, you were making 50% ROI, return on investment, on this certain item. Fast forward when this item starts checking Amazon a couple weeks later, remember that's how long it would take for your item to get live, is that now you're only making 20%, 15%. What happened? It's a couple reasons, right? Sometimes it's just not of our control. Someone just decides to lower the price. As a result, we're not making as much as it was before. And this happens. It's part of the business. It's normal in terms of Amazon. Yes, there's a couple things you can do to protect yourself, right? Like obviously you want to get the item as low as possible so that way you have room for profit out there. But sometimes, again, it happens. There's a couple things what you can do in order to avoid this in terms of reality, expectations, and from my experience. So as a beginner, I always advise to start the business learning retail arbitrage and online arbitrage, because you are only limited to certain quantities when purchasing item versus let's say you dive into wholesale and bought one product and spent thousands buying thousands of quantity as well, and as a result, that item, the price crashed, right? Now you're stuck with that item. You have to sell it with that many quantities. Versus, you know, if you're doing online arbitrage, you're widening your risk. You're buying multiple products, right? It might not be the biggest quantity, but then again, it kind of gives you that buffer in case that price goes down, something happens to that brand and you can't sell it anymore. There's issue to that listings. There's different things going on Amazon constantly. So as an experienced seller, this is where you can have the advantage versus the new sellers, right? Because they don't know what they're doing. They just started the business. Online arbitrage, retail arbitrage is the best way to make these mistakes. I say mistakes, it's more actually of like a lesson and an experience, because you're not gonna wanna do it again, especially if there's money involved. But if you do end up going the wholesale route immediately, you might lose that money and you might not be able to recoup it versus like $100 there, $200 there, because you're buying a wide range of products. But not only that, you're only gonna also help yourself increase your knowledge and skill of maybe looking at different categories, right? Like we're talking about like widening and spreading your risk here. You buy an item, maybe, you know, like a grocery product. Second item might be apparel or shoes. Third item might be like a beauty product. So now you have these different products from different things. So this is why diversification as a beginner, broaden things out, is really helpful and kind of prevents things like this happening. Another helpful thing is to definitely learn Keepa. Check out my last video, which is a Keepa masterclass. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it or else you're not gonna be successful on Amazon FBA. So that's another way in order to prevent the profit versus the reality what you're gonna get. You're gonna wanna minimize that risk so that way you can predict the future if that item you're looking to buy is going to be good or not. At the end of the day, Amazon FBA is not just about selling items. You know, you get to learn the different skills as a business owner that can help you catapult in your future endeavors. This is not even like mistakes I wish I knew. It's more of like lessons and experiences, which really helped me in order to be where I'm at right now. So see this as opportunity for you guys to learn, improve yourself, so that way you can be a better business owner in the future, and not just for Amazon, but other things that you may pursue in the future as well. So definitely subscribe if you guys want to learn more tips in terms of Amazon. And if you want to watch the video that will level you up next, this is the video right here. Check it out. Catch you guys later.